What's going on, everybody? Today, don't have a washing video, don't have any lawn care. Today, I'm going to tell you a story. It's a true story, and it's about how I have a dead woman in my storage room. Stay tuned. Okay, so you're wondering, oh, I thought that was going to be a joke. Well, it wasn't. It's true. I have a dead lady in my storage room. And we keep her right there with a stack of Bibles on top of her. Now you may say, oh, Jonathan, how did you come to have a woman's ashes in your storage room, and why do you keep them in your storage room? And I'll tell you why. All right, well, how I came to have a dead woman in my storage unit, or my storage room, her name's Nancy. Anytime anything goes on that's weird around here, light flickers, power goes off, door opens, cracks, creak, anything that happens at this house that's supernatural or abnormal, we always say Nancy. So her name's Nancy, and her real name is Nancy. So how I ended up with Nancy in my storage unit or storage room is about 7 years ago, I was doing property preservation, which is working on foreclosed properties. And we go to a house up in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we get there and there's just trash everywhere. Part of our job is to get everything out of the house, out of the yard, any outbuildings, anything like that we had to get rid of. So we have a bunch of people up there working, loading up trailers, loading up bags, trying to get all this garbage out. It ended up being like about a 7-day job and lots of trips to the Knoxville landfill. So anyway, my mother-in-law was up there in the front yard, and she's bagging up stuff. There's clothes everywhere. There's stuff off the walls. I mean, I think there was a cabinet out there, or a dress, just all kinds of stuff. If I could find the pictures, I would find them and let you see how bad this place was. But anyway, we're sitting there, and I'm working, and I hear my mother-in-law say something, and she goes, I go over there, and I said, what is it? And she said, well, I thought this was a pretty vase, but it turns out this is somebody's ashes. Well, it turns out that the lady's house that we were at doing the trash out, her family had just threw her ashes out into the front yard. Now, this lady had kept her kids' schoolwork in the basement downstairs. We threw so many totes away of all the stuff this woman had kept from her kids when they were little. I mean, when you do a trash out and you go through people's stuff, you really get a feel for who they are. This woman loved M&Ms. It seemed like she loved her kids, cats. I mean, there was a lot of things there that you could get the gist of that she really liked, and that was 3 things: her kids, cats, and M&Ms. And so I call a local funeral home, and I tell them what I have, and they're not much help. And I didn't want to, and we didn't want to just throw her into the landfill, which I didn't think was right. So my thought was, you know, a lot of people you see in movies, they take people's ashes and they dump them in water and, you know, say something nice or whatever. Well, we don't know Nancy, so we thought, my wife, I'm pretty sure, is the one that said, well, what if Nancy didn't like water? That'd be horrible. So we didn't put her in water. I talked to a couple of funeral homes, and nobody was really much help with it. We looked the family up on Facebook, and I think sent a couple of messages to where they just didn't care. I don't even believe they ever responded back. And so that's been 7 years ago, and Nancy's been in our storage room ever since with a stack of Bibles on her. I don't know what kind of person Nancy was. I don't know what would have made her family just throw her out into the yard and not care nothing about her. You know, they went through the rest of the house and got the stuff out they wanted, but this was one thing they didn't get. And, you know, to me, that would have been the most important. So I don't know what kind of person Nancy was, but, you know, we're going to assume she was a nice person and everything's great. She hangs out in our storage room. She's been there for 7 years. It's a running joke that the kids will tell their friends that we got a dead woman in there. And, you know, we do. So it's a funny story, but it's true. We didn't feel right just taking her to the landfill and dumping her, even though she's not our responsibility. I felt like when we found her that she became our responsibility then. And so she hangs out in our storage room, and that's that. You know, she NASCAR, M&Ms, her kids. And there was something else. I can't remember what it was. NASCAR, M&M's, her kids, and I can't remember what the other thing was. But you could really tell that she really liked those things. Cats, that was it. So, because she had been gone since May. We were there in October. No, we were there in November, at the end of November. And somebody had left the back window open. And so there was cats going in and out of the house. They didn't have a litter box, so they had, you know, used the bathroom so bad in the upstairs bathtub that it was clogged up really bad. Pretty nasty. But anyway, that was one of our jobs we did on property preservation. I may do a series on these as it's cooling down here and things start slowing down. I think a lot of these would be really interesting to see. So, if that's something you guys would be interested in to hear, I mean, they're good stories. I got stories talking about, you know, going to a house where it was supposed to be abandoned. We go in and start changing door locks, and we kept noticing this guy drive by. He kept driving by. And I had a question, so I ended up going and calling like a supervisor of a company. And, I said, you know, I'm on the phone with him. Well, then the guy pulls in and he wants to know why we're there. And we said, okay, you know, he said, I talked to your supervisor and he told me that it was okay for me to be here. And I said, okay, well, I'm talking to my supervisor now. And obviously this guy didn't call anybody. And I said, man, I said, there's porno magazines everywhere. There's needles in here. The dude is obviously living in here and just junk everywhere. This place is disgusting. And he said, just get out of there and go from there. So that's what we did. But, I mean, I went down way down in Chattanooga parts that I should have never been in and looked at a house. And, you know, it was one of those that you looked in, needles everywhere, toilets clogged up with needles. And I sent a nice little email back and said, never send me to that house again because I won't go. But a lot of different stories, a lot of times of getting burned in that industry for who you worked with and such. And but yeah, if you guys that want to hear those conversations, just let me know. But for now, and I guess forever, we'll have Nancy because she's a part of our family now. So that's my time for today, and we'll catch you next time.